Welcome to another episode of NPC Ladies Night. Joe, how are you?
Hello, Josh. I'm good. How are you doing?
So good. Chrissy, how's it going?
Nice. I'm good.
Good. And Kat, how are you?
Doing well.
I love it. Well, 1 year ago and 2 days, Mario Wonder was released on the Nintendo Switch. 2 of us have played it, 2 of us have not, and we want to get to the bottom of the have not. So it's going to be a big part of the discussion today. And also just looking back on so many fond memories with this game and probably just the Mario series in general. So Joe, I'm going to have you kick us off and just tell us how much you loved Mario Wonder.
Oh, just absolutely gush about it. My favorite thing to do with games that I really feel passionate about. But Wonder, so let me first apologize to Josh because he's going to be hearing a lot of repeat things that I was saying in our test podcast with Jenna that was not aired because we were quite distracted playing the game. But Wonder was my first time really dabbling in 2D Mario games, and I couldn't have had a better first experience than with Wonder. And I think for the two of you who have not played any 2D Mario games and you want to start, I think Wonder is the best place to start. Which some may disagree with me since it's such a new game and they might tell you to go into like the classic games. But the energy in this game is so unmatched. Like I would say it even has more energy, vibrancy, fun than even a lot of 3D Mario games. Like it really feels like a 3D game without it being a 3D Mario game. I don't even know how to explain it. But it is just so fun. It's so energetic. It's beautiful. The graphics are beautiful. The animations are so funny and silly. Like when Mario and Luigi crouch down and his little nose pops out of the hat. It's so cute. And just like their facial expressions when they run, the faces that the enemies make when you attack them and they have that little look of shock on their face. Like I don't know. They just really hit a home run with this one.
Oh, there's I'm gonna interject real quick because the Goombas in one particular level, and I don't know if it's during this gameplay, it might be, but they're essentially being chased by another enemy and they look terrified. They have a look of terror as they are running away from whatever enemy is coming at them. And that it's those. Oh, there's so many things Nintendo has done right this generation with just making everything feel more alive. And so I just had to interject real quick, but keep going.
No, absolutely. And I think even what you just said right there of like they make everything feel more alive, like literally you feel. I mean, I feel like a lot of people have, for example, me, as everyone knows, I love my little enemy, Shy Guy, my little meow. He's the cutest thing in the world. But, I think a lot of the times, classic games, you think, oh, the enemies aren't that cute or they're just there, whatever. It really makes you like feel for them. They are so silly and funny. Like I love the Koopas on the rollerblades. That's one of my favorite missions because they just look so cute. Like they're having so much fun rollerblading through the whole level. And obviously there's the famous Piranha Plants on parade and they're singing and dancing, and that is literally the most adorable thing I've ever seen. Some people think that song is annoying. I literally can hear it in my sleep, and I love it. It brings me peace. It's so fun and silly. So yeah, and again, I think even that the musical aspect in this game, it, oh my god, just it's so much fun. I feel like I sound crazy right now with how I'm describing it, but it's just literally such a fun game.
You're not wrong. You are not wrong at all. It's tough. Like it's. I love hearing you say, it should be a first Mario game, and it totally could be. Like it totally. If it's your first, you are in for a treat. Being somebody who's played all of them through the years, all I would say is make sure to go back and at least play 3 and play World, because I think, and except for you guys on the show, don't play those yet, because we're gonna do them. We're gonna do them on the show. So, so hold off on that if you haven't yet. But anybody listening that hasn't experienced those games, like if you want more of what the roots of Wonder, definitely play 3 and World, because there's just so much there, and it is such just a fantastic game. I feel like this is the I've said it a lot. I've heard other people say it. This feels like the Mario game I've been waiting for since '92, right? And then when this game got here, I think it took me a total of 3 days to complete. And then I should have 100% and I did not. And now I've been having a good time going back. We played just a couple weeks ago. Joe, this is the gameplay you guys are seeing is Joe and Jenna and myself. And not a second was not just with that I didn't have a smile on my face, because it's just so good.
Yeah, absolutely.
That being said, Chrissy, we'll start with you. You didn't pick up Wonder, and I'm curious if there are any particular reasons why, or any questions you might have about the game.
There was no really any particular reason why I didn't pick up the game, other than I'd picked up the RPG as well. So I had just bought the 2 for the $99 or whatever it was pass, and I picked up it was Super Mario RPG, and it was what other game? I think it was Link's Awakening or something like that is what I picked up as well. Oh no, it was no, it was that game that I picked up. So I picked up the 2 of those, but I couldn't really decide whether or not I wanted to go back to the 2D games or venture back into the RPG. So in the end, I did choose the RPG, but now I'm kind of like, all right, do I get Wonder? Don't I get Wonder? And it's a difficult choice, but the way you're talking about it is so joyous, and I'm like, okay, maybe I do need to step back into the 2D world and just sit there and enjoy it for what it actually is, because I grew up on 2D Mario. It's just the games I played when I was young on the DS, and it was great, and it's really reminiscent. But as well, I wasn't too sure how I felt about the way the game looked. I because I was didn't want to look at it as if it was a musical rather than a game. So the one question I kind of do have is, does the game feel more story driven in comparison to previous 2D Mario's titles, or is it still mostly about the gameplay? Because what I loved about old 2D Mario's was it was basically you had to be good at the game. All those games were skill driven. So, like in comparison to the 3D Mario's, a lot of them are story driven now. So I'm like, does it follow the same kind of path? Or did it go back to being skill driven? So
Joe, why don't you answer that for her?
So I'm going to answer to the best of my ability, because like I said, this was my first 2D game. So I can't compare it to the old ones, only based off of my prior knowledge. But I will say, we could get into this topic another day about how there was like a shift between games being more story based and then turning more gameplay based. And I can get into a whole discussion about that because I'm definitely I prefer a story based game to gameplay. But I will say that this game definitely is, I feel, targeted to younger crowds. Like the one criticism I have is how quick I went through the game. But that was mainly because I couldn't put it down. Like, I genuinely couldn't put it down. I loved every second of it. But there definitely is an easy aspect to it, but there still are enough challenges that you will want to go back and play and go back and find those 3 purple coins and find all the wonder seeds if you didn't find your first time around. I'd say that there definitely is a challenge aspect to the game, just maybe not as big as in the past. And I feel like the story isn't super, super heavy in this game, but I think that there is just so much going on that you're kind of distracted by the fact that there's no story going on. Like it feels like there's a bigger story, but it's just all these new enemies and just so many different things to do and so many different animations to focus on. Like, for example, Mario Party Jamboree just came out, and immediately I started playing as the Ninja because I love the level in this game where it's a rhythm based level and you have to jump on the beat and the little ninjas are jumping around in the background and it's the cutest thing in the world. So I feel like things like that kind of distract you from it not being as story based, if that makes any sense.
It's very on point with the past 2D games as far as like there's something that Bowser does at the beginning that that basically you have to undo throughout the game. And then the main focus of this game is the platforming and playing that way. So if you have a draw to 2D Marios, this is going to be like right up your alley.
Yeah, I definitely felt like from what I've seen, as I've seen plenty of gameplay of past 2D games, I feel like it was pretty on par with that. Like it gives the vibe of a typical 2D Mario game, but it's just so refreshed, refined, and literally I can't even I feel like I sound like stupid because I keep saying the word fun and it's like the one word I keep going back to, but it's just so much fun.
That's a good word to go back to.
I suppose as well, when you say fun though, it's kind of bringing out the inner child in us because, like, if we think about it, we're all in our 20s, if not older, and we're all just kind of enjoying the type of game that we used to enjoy when we were young. So, like, that's how I feel about a lot of 2D games. Like, oh my God, I'm reliving my childhood essentially. And it's just so nice to be able to have that opportunity. So I like that. I did choose the RPG over it, but I am going to get it when I get my next set of the game vouchers. So I'm dead excited because from the gameplay that I've seen, it's definitely up my alley.
And I think, as you said, like 2D was a really big part of your childhood. I genuinely think that because you grew up on 2D games, you will find this to be like worthwhile. Like, genuinely, I think that this is something that you would really, really, really like. And I mean, I think it's great that you got RPG instead, because I think that was like a good way to keep in touch with, like, you know, childhood gaming and stuff. But because, you know, it's always scary when it's a new game. You don't know if it's going to satisfy you. But I can guarantee that if you do get Wonder, you will definitely be in touch with like your childhood and growing up on 2D games. I think you will have a blast when you play this.
Excited. I'm gonna have to. I can't wait to get it now. I'll probably be getting the vouchers in the next 2 months, thereabouts. So we'll see how we go. I'll update you.
Yes, please let me know. And if you ever want to play, you know who to call.
Silly girlfriend.
Well, Kat, we haven't had a chance to hear much from you. You said you didn't pick this one up. What any particular reason why, or any questions you might have about it?
Honestly, looking at the gameplay and like finally really thinking about and looking at this game, I don't know why I didn't. But the more I think about it, I actually did grow up on 2D games, 2D Mario games. I loved them growing up, and it was actually, I think I talked about this the last podcast episode I was on. Like I grew up playing New Super Mario Brothers for the Wii with my family. And so I think when the new 2D games come out, maybe I'm more hesitant because I now do live alone in a city where I have that with my family. And they kind of remind me, these games make me want to go play with my family. But now, like, I do have this community. I would love to play with you guys and honestly would just love to dive into this game myself. On that note, kind of, how are the features of playing with other people? I see that you guys are playing together in this game footage, but how is it across different devices? Are there any ways that it's made easier than maybe in past games? I know there was like the bubble feature in the Wii version of New Super Mario Brothers, and that kind of carried on. Are there similar features in this game? And on top of that, are there any other features that you guys would say make it more fun to play with multiple people or on your own?
Joe, take it away.
So I unfortunately have a Switch Lite. So even then I do have some Joy-Cons, but I have not had the opportunity to like prop up my Switch and play with friends in person. But I can tell you more about the online aspect of it, versus local play. Even though the local play has the aspect of like if someone's playing as a Yoshi, you can jump on their back, and that's really cool. Unfortunately, online play doesn't have that. But I think a lot of people were hesitant to get the game because of the online play. They were afraid of how it was going to work, and it did sound a little weird in the directs with how they explained it. But honestly, I feel like online was really, really cool. So basically, as you can see, like you're looking at, unfortunately right now, you can't really see anyone else. But when you see the other people on screen, we kind of look like little ghosts. But that's real time us playing.
Let's tell them why, because you guys went to another area thinking I was following, and I was like off in my own little world here trying to get the rest of the purple coins. So that was on me.
Go?
Yeah, that was on me.
He wasn't paying attention to us, clearly. But it's okay. I hope you had fun playing this level without us. But you can leave little standees by pressing like down and another button, and basically it leaves it there for a certain amount of time. And if I'm at the opposite end of the map and I'm almost done with the level, and let's say Josh is at the beginning of the map and he falls off, he can use that standee to revive himself, even though I'm at a completely different part of the map. And even better, if we're close together and he falls off the map, he turns into a little ghost for, I think, about 5 seconds. And he has 5 seconds to find me. And if we touch, it revives him right in that spot, which isn't really good if it's a scroller and the platform's not there, then you kind of get screwed. But because you fall into nothing if the platform's not there. But I think that's a really fun part as well. And I won't spoil anything if you're planning to get the game, but there's also like little cheats to it later on in the game that you can benefit from if you're playing online, but which some people don't really like because sometimes it like spoils it for you. Like if I'm in a level and you see my little ghost to go into like a little crack or crevice, it's like you follow and oh, there's that hidden purple coin. But like that's the thing, it's also helpful because if you're playing online with a bunch of strangers and you see them going to this part of the map that you can't access, you're like, huh, how do I get there? And it kind of guides you. But that's what I find really fun with it. That you could literally play online with anybody in the world. But you are limited to like 4 people a level. So it's if, 100 people are in one level, it's only going to put you with 4 people at a time. But still, like it's super helpful. You can bounce off of each other. And yeah, I honestly really did like the online aspect of the game. A lot of people were scared of it, me included. But I think it actually worked out really, really nicely.
So
Yeah, I think I was just gonna kind of hop in and say, I think it was something I knew was a feature, but again, I thought it would be new and might need some time to figure itself out. But
No, yeah,
now
for
that I
sure.
know, it's like so cool, and I'm actually taking the time to look into it. Super interesting. So yeah, thank you.
You're very welcome. Chrissy, you got a question?
Yeah, with the co-op and with multiplayer and stuff, do you think it makes the game balanced, or should it have reverted back to like the way the original 2Ds were without the online aspect and without co-op? So do you think it would be easier to have it that way, or does the chaos and the chaos of multiplayer at the moment, how do you think it makes it feel?
Me personally, again, I'll let Josh handle most of that, but like I think that the chaos of it is like it makes it so fun. I think it's part of the experience. Like genuinely, I think if you get this game, which obviously playing it not online is just as fun and you can have a great time, but I do feel like if you have this game and you have an online subscription, it's part of the experience because it's so chaotic and fun. So I just feel like it's literally something you have to do with this one. Again, when it comes to like compared to the older games, I can't really comment there. So I'm gonna let Josh take over because he can give more insight on that.
So when you compare it to like the new Super Mario Brothers games that you guys are probably familiar with, where you're bubbling and bumping into each other, the game is very much like that. If you're playing local multiplayer, you can. I don't know if you pass through each other, if you have hitbox. It's been too long since I played, so I don't recall. But you are running into the issue of like trying to make sure people aren't getting the power ups and going too far ahead, and all the kind of stuff that you could expect from the new Super Mario Brothers series when you did multiplayer. I do think it got a little less chaotic, which helped. And then the online was kind of controversial because some people were like, "Yo, I want this to be just like I would play if I was sitting at my couch with everybody, right? To where we could bump into each other, and we do have to worry about stealing power-ups and sharing power-ups and that kind of stuff." So that basically went away. When you play online, the only thing you can do is you can share a power-up if you want with the people you're in the room with or in the lobby with. But other than that, they're just kind of there to help you get out of your bubble, if you will, like when you turn into a ghost, to help you come back to life. That being said, at the beginning of the level, you can all decide to hit the checkered box, and now you're racing. And so that adds a whole nother element to the online, because you're not running into each other. You can't bump into each other. And so you're just focused on trying to get through the level faster than everybody else. So that adds another element of fun that wasn't in past games. So it's kind of another layer to it, honestly. And myself and the guys on Johnny and Crawler and Cheesy, we did it, and we would put the boots on that make you the badge that gives you like the speed boost, and we would just run as fast as we could through the level. So even if we had played through, see on the screen right now it says host a race. If you all hit that will trigger the race mode. So so that element of it was a great addition, because it changes, like, even if you've played through the game, if you're playing with experienced players and racing, you got to be pixel perfect or you're not going to win. And so that is just another element of fun, I believe. I do want to point out too, like the first probably 15 minutes of this video, the majority of my time was spent on one level, and the difficulty on that level was like 4 or 5 stars. I think it was the hardest difficulty. And that was to try to get all of the big purple coins, as well as like all the seeds and everything involved in that. So I do think there are plenty of there are levels that you're going to run through like they're nothing. But there are other levels that will present quite a challenge if that's what you're looking for. And it's honestly a pretty good balance. And it's really set up in a way that, like, if the levels are too hard and the game became not as fun because of that, you didn't have to do those. But if you're looking for the challenge, you're going to easily find it. So, yeah. So does that, like, I will say, if you get the opportunity to play locally with people, don't miss it, because the one time I did get to do that, it was really a lot of fun. Like, a lot of fun. I was playing with my niece and my nephew and their dad, and there was a lot of like, like friendly elbows being thrown and things like that. And it was just a really good time, because the past new Super Mario Brothers games that I've played, those were also a great time. Albeit very chaotic. So
that was what I was like gonna miss, I think, is if I did get the game, as someone, just myself, I felt like I was gonna go through the game and work through it probably too fast. Like Joe was saying, I feel like these are the kinds of things I can't put down. And then what would I do? But with the online feature, and then, the rare times I do have family over or friends who are interested in Nintendo gaming, I would definitely be interested in trying the local features for sure.
Yes, it's a very full package when it comes to that aspect. I think another thing worth noting is the badge system that I kind of briefly mentioned, and that is you'll notice throughout the level, when I jump, I might my hat might pull out, and I kind of or like kind of turn into a parachute, and I kind of float. And that is one of the badges. I think, Joe, you like to use the badge that makes you like more floaty, right? Like when you jump a little higher and you're kind of floaty.
No, I like the spin jump.
The spin jump. Okay. The spin jump, which is originated in Super Mario World. And so, you kind of get to choose how you want to play. There's, like I said, there's the boots that will make you like run really fast, and I think it might increase your jump just a little bit, but it makes it a little harder to traverse the levels. You got to be a little more careful. I prefer the hat only because it feels like, I think, like if you guys played New Super Mario Brothers 2 on 3DS, the raccoon hat and tail, right, where you could kind of float with that, or kind of the squirrel on the squirrel suit on New Super Mario Bros. U. And so that that just felt more traditional to me and something I was used to. And so that's why I went with that one for most of the time. But they also have like where you can shoot vines and essentially be Spider-Man if you want. And stick to walls, and like you can grab the top of the flagpole with the vine and it pulls you to the top of it. Like there's a lot of different badges to unlock, and that adds a whole nother aspect to everything. So that's
like one thing I wish I dabbled in more, but I think that gives the game a lot of replayability because people want to replay every level with the different badges and to see which is like the optimal way to beat that level. And I think that there's even speedrun categories based on the badge, you know, so like people will specialize in that specific badge. And I think that there definitely is like that sense of replayability there because there's so many. Now some of them don't do much, but there are so many different badges that you can play the level with and see which one you work best with. So I think that's also a really good aspect of the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Touching on something that Josh said there, you talked about it being how the hat would be traditional for a Mario game. A lot of those power-ups there you're talking about wouldn't generally be in a traditional Super Mario game, right? So what do you think, do you think, because I feel like this Super Mario Wonder was more of an experiment to see how the people would gauge it, to see, because I'm thinking that this is how 2D games are going to be from now on. Or do you think, okay, since it was such a hit, or if it wasn't such a hit that it is now, do you think they would have changed the way the 2D games are set and reverted back to the traditional way of the Super Mario Brothers? Or do you think they're going to stick with the way Wonder is as it is now at the moment and carry on those types of features into the next one?
I honestly feel like so just bear with me for what I'm about to say. But compared to the new Super Mario Brothers games, all four of them, four, yeah, all four of them, compared to the Mario 3 and Mario World, have always felt relatively safe and a tad bit dull. And I don't like. I also don't like that those were probably some of your first Mario games, and I'm talking poorly of them. It's not my not my intention
No
by any
offense, David.
by any means. But they didn't move the needle. If anything, they just felt like a safe option for Nintendo, and like nothing was, there wasn't a lot of experiments, which I think is why you're asking the question you're asking, because this game, all of a sudden it's like, yo, we've got this badge system on top of the power-ups, and now we're racing for multiplayer as well as kind of playing cooperatively depending on how we want to uh take it on, right? And so I 1,000% believe that this is the new standard for Mario games. Will we see everything come back exactly the same? I kind of think that is unlikely. But I have a video that I've been working on talking about what I'm hoping we see from the next 2D Mario game. And I do hope that it is Wonder 2. Do I want to see the Wonder Seeds and the Wonder Flowers come back? That's not something that I'm super partial to. So either way is fine with me. I do like that it extended levels because you could essentially have two different flagpoles, which was also an old school Mario thing. Like if you could go through and hit like the red flagpole on certain levels, or the secret exit on like Super Mario World and stuff, there were different. Sometimes they had two different exits, which was cool. And so that was kind of leaning into that while also getting very Nintendo and very creative. So what I do think is going to happen, based on what we saw with new Super Mario Brothers on the DS and then new Super Mario Brothers 2 on the 3DS, is since Bowser Jr. was the enemy in this one, I have a feeling the Koopalings will be back for the second one, and that there's a very real possibility that for the 40th anniversary of Mario, we may very well get a 2D and 3D Mario in the same year in 2025. So and only because they have all the assets here from Wonder and they never did any DLC. They basically just did a one and done
Yeah.
with this, and they have so much here. And again, and I'm not gonna go into detail here. I'll save it for the video. You guys can check it out later. But I have ideas. I'm hoping some directions that they take the next game, and I couldn't be more happy if that ends up being the case, because this game is up there for me with 3 and World as like, I don't know which one I would put first, because they're all that good. Like all 3 of them are that good. Like it used to be, if somebody said, what's your favorite 2D Mario, World or 3? And don't ask me to choose between them, because it's really, really hard to do that. Wonder is now, there's now a 3-way fight for the top 2D spot for me. And so
3 players racing for first. Okay.
yeah,
That's cool. I like that, because I thought that, like, it's not revolutionary in terms of a Super Mario game, but it is at the same time, because like it's using both the traditional aspects of Super Mario for the platformers, but it's also taking into account different stuff. They've pulled like different aspects from their 3D worlds, from the 3D Marios, and brought it into it. So I think it's kind of groundbreaking for it being a 2D Mario, and I really and I haven't played it. I will say, I haven't played it, but I think that, like, I agree with you. I think this is the way that it's going to go from now on, because like, while I think the game was an experiment, it was a highly successful one. So I can see it moving on into the future games as well.
Not only that, Nintendo did something very, very cool with this game. They told the developers, you do not have a deadline. And from my understanding, the amount of ideas that were on the table that we didn't even see from this one, there's a very real possibility we see in the next one. And almost basically, like, a lot of times with Mario games, they're adding to, but in some cases they are taking away. But if they can just continue to add to this, similar to like from like Galaxy to Galaxy 2, where it was like, let's take something amazing and then just keep it going, right? That's honestly my hope for what a second Wonder would be. Or, you know, and if they stick with the Wonder stuff, I'm, like I said, I would not be upset by it. And I feel like they could just continue to get more and more creative, even with the badge system and all that stuff. Like it would be hard to go back to a Mario game now without that badge system and being able to use those things. My one hope possibly would be the ability to like maybe use 2 badges at once, you know, by unlocking something or doing something that would allow that to happen, just to see what, you know, if I could use the hat and that to be able to move faster, what would that do for like the speed running community and things like that, you know? So where it's just, you can take on levels in different ways. And so, and my favorite aspect of Mario games, honestly, has always been power-ups. And if you're watching the video right now, you're seeing Mario in his drill costume, right? And literally just burrowing into the ground or into the ceiling, depending on where you're at in the level. And never would I have thought of like doing moving through levels like this. This is where I feel like Nintendo just really shines. And when they get weird, it gets fun, you know, for the most part. When they take risks like this, it can be fun. And so I'm it kind of like tying back into your last question about just where it's, you know, is this going to be the new norm? I hope so. I really do.
I guess I could throw in another quick question kind of on that topic. So this game takes place just in a separate kingdom. So it's like not Mushroom Kingdom, but Flower Kingdom, correct?
Yeah.
So do you think that potentially developers, with the success of this game, would then just start putting out more games that take place in this kingdom? Because I know, Josh, you were saying it kind of started to get slightly repetitive, in the Mushroom Kingdom. Do you think they're kind of gonna build upon this world from now on for a little while? Um, do you think this is just, like, the first of many that we'll see here?
I don't like for me the locations have never really been an issue, or like the level design, but more of like I don't know if I can like completely put my finger on it, but like when you compare, like if you compare Super Mario Brothers 3 to World, you essentially have like this overworld that you traverse, and then you go into each level and you complete it, right? And that was in like New Super Mario Brothers Wii, and I think it was in the first one on DS and on 2. It's been just a while since I've played them, but they there was never that big, like, for instance, in Super Mario Brothers 3, you had like the raccoon suit, and granted, you were coming from off of Super Mario Brothers 2, which was not even a Mario game. It was a different game in Japan that got a Mario skin. And so Mario didn't even really have power-ups in that game. He could pull up vegetables and throw them, or pull up bombs and throw them, that kind of stuff. Going from 2 to 3 was like this amazing jump of like, Mario's got Hammer Brothers suit and Tanuki suit and a frog suit, and he can swim better. And it was just this magical new world that we had never experienced before. And then World comes along, and you've got a cape, and now you can ride a dinosaur with Yoshi. And it's like, those were, it just felt like it expanded upon and became like bigger. And then since then, everything else has just kind of felt a little more of the same. But I do think whether it's Flower or Mushroom Kingdom, they've always gotten creative with the levels. And do we see Flower Kingdom again? Maybe. I kind of hope that maybe we see a Wonder Flower got into some other kingdom, and then that's going to open up wonder levels in something along those lines, maybe, so maybe it is back in the Mushroom Kingdom. Maybe it's some levels that we recognize, but now you've got to do Wonder Flower versions of it. And that changes what's happening in those levels. So there's that familiarity with also some new sprinkled in, right? So I think there's, I think as long as they continue to expand on the power-ups and the badge system, and also anything else that we aren't even thinking of, right? That's going to be like that's cool. Like maybe the vine right now, it just kind of like, you can throw it side to side and kind of just grab onto the wall, but maybe they'll give the ability to allow you to swing with it, or shoot it up, or have it, maybe grab a Goomba and then kick them with it. I don't even know. I can't remember if you could do that or not in this. I don't recall, but like as long as they're expanding on that aspect of it, their level design, as long as they continue in a similar formula to this, I think we are going to be in for another great game.
Definitely. Yeah. You were saying like maybe Wonder, or the Wonder levels will go into different games that are in different kingdoms, and all I could think of was the Mario multiverse is what we're going to start seeing. um, it's super exciting, and yeah, seeing the gameplay of this, it's also super aesthetically pleasing. It feels like the color palette is just shifted from what has been seen in the past, and there's something about it that I really, really like. So that's exciting, and I hope they continue with that as well.
I think the word sterile is oftentimes thrown around when talking about the new Super Mario Brothers series, and
Yeah,
that's the furthest from this game. this game has
Mhm.
like the foreground, the backgrounds, the multiple backgrounds. Like it's just
Mm-hmm.
it is it's something to behold, and that's what really makes it's another one of the aspects that makes it so special.
Definitely. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to download it or get it
You should get
immediately.
it. Yeah.
No, I'm definitely gonna have to get it.
Also
I'm convinced.
to bounce off what you said about like seeing the Wonder Seeds again and seeing the Flower Kingdom again, I really hope we see it because I thought the little poplins were so cute. Um, I love the talking flower in this game, which is controversial because a lot of people hate him and think that he's annoying and says the stupidest things, but I think he's pretty hilarious. And I was telling Josh and Jenna when we were playing, sometimes I like to put the flower's language in different languages and see what he says, even if I can't understand it, because I find it to be so entertaining and so funny. I don't know why he gets so much hate. I think he's hilarious. So I definitely hope that we see the Flower Kingdom again. And maybe, I mean, maybe even not in like a 2D game, but like, I think in in Galaxy, how like you go to the different galaxies and you see the different enemies, like hopefully like maybe in a 3D game in the future, there's like a Flower Kingdom galaxy or Flower Kingdom location, and it has like some of the enemies, it has little poplins and the talking flowers. Like, so I just hope that we see it again, even if it's not in a 2D game with like the same concept of like the Wonder Seeds, etc. I just hope that we see more of it because I was very entertained by the Flower Kingdom.
And I agree.
I love all the little creatures.
Right?
And there was new
The way-
enemies introduced also, which was fantastic.
So many new ones.
And that's what's also really refreshing about this game is that not only were there new enemies, but they were also a lot of fun and just added new elements to the game and the way you have to traverse levels, and even these little, like we're on screen right now, these little like sparkly rotating stars or whatever they are, like they're messing with everything. Like I think I end up dying right here, getting knocked out by them. So that in and of itself. But then look in the background, there's like this golden waterfall happening over behind all these blocks, and it's just it looks like you're playing a painting, which is which New Super Mario Bros. U had one world like that where it was like you were playing in a Picasso, but
yes, I love that one.
Yeah,
so
and most
much.
people did, but
exactly
then
which one you're talking.
Yeah, and that was like, yo, why isn't there just more of this? Like, and then this game is like all of that. Like you see it throughout the whole game. And so, and they also get creative. At one point, like you're literally playing in the foreground, and one character is like doing things trying to help the other characters out if you're playing in multiplayer and stuff. And so it really moved the series forward in many, many ways. And I think some of the best ways possible. One of the things I'm going to make a TikTok about it. When Mario jumps in this game, he looks almost identical to the box art for Super Mario Brothers 2 when he's jumping in that game. And like that's never been possible before until or at least maybe it was possible, but they never did it until now. And so I almost feel like I'm seeing part of my childhood every time Mario jumps, because he just looks exactly like he did on that box art. And that box art's one of my favorites. So it's just there's so many little things like that just add to the charm and the joy when you're playing it.
Yeah, I hadn't noticed that. That's awesome. I like the jumping. And I feel like it's become very popular in gaming as a whole nowadays, that it almost feels like you're playing art. Like you are playing art, but now it's starting to shift to you feel like you're playing art. And I've even seen it in movies and television, like the way animation is done nowadays. I don't know if you guys have seen the movie The Wild Robot. It just came out. It is like a 2-hour long kids movie that is just a work of art. And that's kind of how this game makes me feel as well. And I think it would be super cool if Nintendo stays on that line of creating artworks that are visually fun to play. And on top of that, I think, as you said earlier, I think the creators not having a timeline for this and giving them free reign, I wonder if that I would rather wait a couple extra years and play a game that's this beautiful, you know? So I hope they kind of keep emphasizing that.
I would say the biggest complaint with this game is how short it is. And I honestly don't know if it's that short of a game or if we were all just so hungry for a 2D Mario game this good that we just could not stop playing it. I beat it in 3 days, and that's not like me. Like 3 and it probably would have been beaten faster if I wasn't going to I went to a all day concert the Sunday after, because this was when games were still released on Fridays. So like it would have been, I would have been complete with it before that, just because I couldn't put it down, and it was just smiling ear to ear with as I played. So it was just that good.
I mean, you didn't even 100% it. It took me, I'd say, about maybe 3 weeks, a month to 100% it. But same kind of deal. I could not put it down. It was just, I was having too much fun with it. So, take that into account. I think most people aren't like me and Josh, where we like have to like beat it right away. And I think a lot of people play a lot more leisurely. And I think that stretches out the game a lot more, and it won't feel as short as it is, because you're actually like taking your time with it and enjoying it as well. But I was too quick to 100% it, and that is something I regret.
I think it's worth mentioning too, with Mario's 40th anniversary coming, there's a very real possibility that we could have unlimited wonder levels if they add this to Super Mario Maker 3.
Ooh,
That would be insane.
good point.
And giving essentially the Nintendo community the ability to create wonder levels, like potentially with Wonder Seeds and all of those tools, it would be amazing. It would just be so good. So
It would be chaotic.
yes.
Giving people the reins is scary, but also at the same time, it's a new challenge. So, like, when you have completed the game, you're kind of like, you're just going to be speedrunning it, I suppose, like the way you were talking about earlier. But if this was to get added to Super Mario Maker 3, it would be insanity, just pure insanity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which, I mean, fingers crossed that is that does end up becoming our reality, because it would be so good. So good. So okay, well, any final questions or thoughts before we wrap this thing up?
Joe mentioned the talking sunflowers, and the first thing that came to my mind when I saw them was that they remind me of Clippy. The paper clip that was in the Word document in the top right hand corner. It reminds me of that, and I love it.
No, yeah, he's funny. I got a kick out of him. I thought he was hilarious.
Yeah, no, it was just that came to my mind, and I was like, this reminds me of Clippy. I love this.
There's a one of the levels we do where you end up like you have to traverse like almost straight up, and then you leave the wonder area and the flower falls with you, and he's screaming the entire time.
Yep.
And And
There's multiple levels where he does that.
I just laughed. I was like, this is so great because it's like an unintentional companion that's now terrified because he's falling at an extreme rate, and it just, I don't know, it's just so good. So
I also want to say for the people who I mean, this might make it worse for them, but I just want to make a note of it that, there's a lot of people who are not a fan of the new voices of like Mario and Luigi since Charles Martinet no longer is doing them. But the new guy also did the voice for the flower. Oh,
well, there you go.
just a little comment I wanted to make. So I'm like, nice range. I love it.
It's great. No, it's great. It's great. Kat, any final questions from you?
No final questions, but I think y'all sold me for sure.
Yeah, we can play together.
Yes, definitely. Might have to go. My birthday's coming up, so I have to shoot my parents a text saying, "Hey."
I think it's right here, guys. If you watch the screen real quick, I think. Oh no, it was a different one. And we were up high like that, and I saw the flower with me. I was like, maybe this is it, but not the same one. No, definitely shoot him that text for sure. And I think it would be fun to even set up like a community game night where we get a whole bunch of people to play Wonder, and we all just jump in voice and jump into groups of 4 and. Maybe some people want to race, or some people just need to complete more levels, or whatever the case may be, and just kind of all hang out and have like a Mario Wonder once a month community game night or something. It would be a lot of fun.
I'm so down. Wonder Wednesdays. That's actually really good.
There we go. I love it.
I love that.
Great. Okay. Well, Joe, any closing thoughts or anything before we wrap up?
If you haven't played Wonder, I suggest you do. It's so much fun. You will literally feel like a child playing it, and I hope that you enjoy it as much as I did.
I love that. Yeah. It is a fantastic experience. So, Rissy, is there anywhere you would like to send people if they want to connect with you on social media?
I can be found on any social media essentially with @ChrissyFix. So yeah, if anyone ever wants to chat, just hit me up. I'm always in Josh's Discord lurking, so that's where you'll find me.
Love it. And Kat, how about you? Any places you'd like to shout out?
Yeah, I also can be found on social media. My full name's Catherine, so it's Catherine.gross. Feel free to say hi. If you follow me on Twitter, it's CatGrossWX. I am a meteorologist by trade, so if you ever want to see pictures of clouds or anything like that, feel free to follow me over there.
I love that.
That's cool.
That's so cool.
And Joe, how about you?
You can find me in the Discord. My name is Joe Mama, so watch out.
I love it. So good. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for listening. If you guys have any topics or anything that you would like us to discuss in the future, please feel free to leave comments either in the comment section on the video, on the audio section on Spotify, or hit us up in the Discord. And we will see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.